Mr. Chairman, I'm getting the recording started. If you just give one more moment, please.
Okay.
All right, it looks like the recording's up and working. If you'd like, I will go ahead and quickly do the instructions for this evening. Tonight, there will be a board meeting, as with all of our board meetings. There is a time for public comment. And in order to do public comment this evening, you can do it in one of four ways. You could have dropped something off at the drop box. We have checked the drop box. There was nothing in it earlier this evening. You can raise your hand during the Zoom meeting and be recognized. You can also raise your hand through the phone. If by chance, either through the raising your hand or through the phone, you're unable to raise your hand for some way during the Zoom meeting, you can send a message to public comment at newtowntownship.org. Again, public comment at newtowntownship.org with your phone number or your name that you're unable to be recognized, and we will recognize you. If you want to just send in a public comment, you can do so, and that would be through public comment at newtowntownship.org. Again, you could make that, and we do monitor that throughout the meeting. And anybody would only be recognized when it's at the time of public comment on the meeting. Mr. Chairman, or I'll turn it back over to you. I guess at this moment, you're not really the chair right now, but I guess you're kind of getting us started until we get to that point.
Thank you, Mr. Nease. The board was in executive session prior to this meeting to discuss a personnel matter. Mr. Nease, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Nawn.
Present.
Ms. Roberts-Lightcap.
Here.
Mr. Altieri.
Present.
Mr. Partridge.
Here.
Mr. Russo.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nease. Before we get started, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Steve Nease as the temporary secretary until such time as we get to the formal appointment on the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was seconded by Mr. Partridge. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'd also like to make an appoint Mr. Russo as the temporary chairman for this evening's meeting until we get to the election of board officers. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second the motion. Oh,
Motion was seconded by Supervisor Roberts-Lightcap. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Russo, it's your meeting.
I'd like to have a moment of silence for all our public safety officers, firemen, police folks that the new year brings, them safe and healthy and protecting our communities. Okay, want to consider approving the agenda. Does anyone want to?
Mr. Russo, I would like to add one addition, item 11.13. This would be the board liaison for the Shade Tree Commission. And with that addition, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Did I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, approved. That's approved unanimously. Item number 9, election of board of officers. Election of board chair. Do I have a nomination for chair?
Yeah, I'd like to make a nomination. I'd like to nominate John Nawn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? No. Unanimous. John Nawn's our new chair. I assume you can take over now.
Thank you for your vote of confidence, folks. I look forward to serving you again this year. I do say I've got the best supervisor board here to work with of anybody, so thank you. I'd now like to open the floor for nomination for position of vice chair of the board.
I'd like to nominate Ed Partridge.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second that.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap for Ed Partridge to serve as the vice chair. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thanks for that vote of confidence also.
Look forward to working with you guys again. All right. Appointment of boards and commissions. Who wants to handle item number 10?
Do we have to nominate? Do we have to make a motion to approve? How do you want to explain to me? Because I'll start the planning commission, so.
We should read the list of appointments.
Okay.
And that would be in the form of a motion. We get a second and then we can vote on it.
All of them?
Oh. Sorry.
I think you take it
I mean,
the way,
Wh-
you know.
whoever's
interviews.
going to do the
We can go
nominations.
one by one if we want. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 10-1, Planning Commission.
I'd like to nominate Paul Winterhalter.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Russo to approve Paul Winterhalter for the Planning Commission four-year term expiring 12/31/2024. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 10.2, Zoning Hearing Board.
I'd like to nominate Kevin Baskell to one 5-year term expiring 12/31/2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Russo to approve Kevin Baskell for the 5-year term expiring 12/31/2025 for our Zoning Hearing Board. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 10.3,
I'd like to make a motion to appoint to the zoning hearing board alternative for one-year term expiring 12/31/2021, Paul San Francisco.
is there a second?
Second the motion.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Altieri to appoint Paul San Francisco to the Zoning Hearing Board alternate position for 1-year term expiring 12/31/2021. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 10.4, Municipal Authority.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, it's not elect. I'd like to
These are appointments.
appoint to the municipal authority for one 5-year term expiring 12/31/2025, Kaliga Sawart. Leonard, how do you, I apologize if I took your name.
Sawar, I believe is how she said it.
Yes,
Is there a second?
motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Altieri to appoint Kalika Sawart to the 5-year
very
term expiring 12/31/2025 on the Municipal Authority. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 10.5, Environmental Advisory Commission.
For a 3-year term expiring 12/31/2023, I'd like to nominate Cindy Mahalo.
You want to do them at the same time?
I can do them together if you'd prefer, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
why don't you do them together?
So, for 3-year term expiring 12/31/2023, Cindy Mahalo, and then also for 3-year term expiring 12/31/2023 is Harry Brines. Both of these are reappointments to the EAC.
Is there a second?
I'd like to second that.
Motion is made by Supervisor Altieri, seconded by Supervisor Russo to nominate or appoint Cindy Mahalo and Harry Bryans each to a 3-year term expiring 12/31/2023 on our Environmental Advisory Commission. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 10.6, Park and Recreation Board.
I'd like to nominate for one 5-year term expiring 12/31/2025, Dr. Caitlin Foy.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is made by Supervisor Altieri, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap to appoint Dr. Caitlin Foy to a 5-year term expiring 12/31/2025 on our Parks and Recreation Board. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 10.7, the Marple Newtown Leisure Services Board.
Okay, for the Marple Newtown Leisure Services Board, I'd like to nominate for a 3-year term expiring 12/31/2023, Marty Milligan.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, or Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo to appoint Marty Milligan to a 3-year term expiring 12/31/2023 on the Marple Newtown Leisure Services Board. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 10.8, the Library Board has recommended the appointment of Tony Maloof to a 3-year term ending 12/31/2023. Would anybody like to make a motion to accept that recommendation?
I'll make a motion to accept Tony Maloof.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Altieri, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap to accept the Library Board's recommendation for the appointment of Tony Maloof to a 3-year term ending 12/31/2023. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. It is noted that the Library Board still has a vacancy for another 3-year term ending 12/31/2023, and we expect they will provide us with a recommendation in the future. Item 10.9, the Vacancy Board. This is a 2-year term expiring 12/31/2022.
Okay, for the Vacancy Board, for the 2-year term expiring 12/31/2022, I'd like to nominate John McDevitt.
Is there a second?
I'll
I'll
second
second.
that.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Altieri to appoint John McDevitt to the Vacancy Board for a 2-year term expiring 12/31/2022. Any further discussions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 10.10, no applications were received for serving on the Bartram Bridge Commission. We will revisit that at a future meeting. Item 10.11, the Finance Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to appoint, I guess, for the 5-year term ending 12/31/2025, Jim Lanzalato.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Altieri to appoint Jim Lanzalato to the 5-year term expiring 12/31/2025 of our Finance Committee. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Delegate to the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors Convention.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, actually, if you approve, I'd like to actually take the next 3, and I'd like to nominate Stephen Nease to the delegate to PSATs, the representative to CDCA, and the representative to the Council of Government.
That's fine. Is there a second?
I'll second
Second.
that.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo to approve Steve Nease for the delegate to PSATs, the representative to CDCA, and a representative to the Council of Governments. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Takes us to item 11. I'm going to read the list and then I'll entertain a motion in a second. For board liaisons, for police, Ed Partridge. For non-uniform personnel, John Nawn. For Pension Board and Non-Uniform Pension Board, Leonard Altieri. For Planning Commission, Tina Roberts Lightcap. Zoning Liaison, Tina Roberts Lightcap. Environmental Advisory Council, Mike Russo. Parks and Recreation Board, Ed Partridge. Municipal Authority, Leonard Altieri. Leisure Services, John Nawn. Library, Mike Russo. Fire Department and Emergency Service, John Nawn. Finance Committee, Tina Roberts Lightcap and Leonard Altieri. And added to the agenda, the Shade Tree Board, Leonard Altieri. Would anybody like to offer a motion to approve those board liaisons?
So move for,
Is there
second,
a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap to approve the board liaisons as read. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. If you like, we can do the township officials the same way. All right, I'll read the list and we can then entertain a motion for approval. All right, Township Solicitor, Joseph Catania Esquire. Township Special Counsel, Richard Sikora Esquire. Township Engineer, Stantec Engineering / Eileen Nelson PE. Alternate Conflict Engineer, Herbert E. McCombie Jr., Consulting Engineers and Surveyors, Inc., David Balloon PE. Township Manager, Secretary, and Treasurer, Stephen M. Nease. Chief Administrative Officer for the Pension Plan Funds, Stephen M. Nease. Assistant Secretary, Suzanne R. Willanen. Assistant Treasurer, Richard LaFiata. Right to Know Officer, Suzanne R. Willanen. Chief of Police, Christopher Lund. Roadmaster, George Sharitz. Zoning Officer, Director of Codes, Building Codes Official, Andrew Reschik. Code Enforcement Official, Assistant Zoning Officer, BIU. Fire Marshal, Carl Keenan. Assistant Fire Marshal, Joseph Alonzo. Sewage Enforcement Officer, oh, I'm sorry, I'm out of order here. Fire Marshal, I did that. Assistant Sewage Enforcement Officer, I'm all right, that's fine.
Yeah, you're right. You're in the right order.
Got it. There's two different lists here. So Sewage Enforcement Officer, Herbert E. McCombie Jr., PE, Consulting Engineer and Surveyors, Jim Bevins, SEO. Electrical Inspector, United Inspection, Inc., or BIU. Both of them would be appointed. 1118 Health Inspector, Marple Township / Joseph Romano. Assistant or Emergency Management Coordinator, Jean Bale, and a whole lot of numbers after her name there. Assistant Emergency Management Coordinator, Stephen M. Nease. We are presently leaving, let's see, Animal Warden is Alan Strickler. Animal Shelter, Brandywine Valley, Brandywine Veterinarian Hospital. Appointed Auditor is to be determined. We'll do that at the next meeting. And Township Arborist is to be determined. We are doing a RFP for a Township Arborist. I will also add that we are currently preparing RFPs for a number of the positions I just read. And as they're put out to bid or put out for responses, we'll make a decision whether we replace now or at the next year's reorganization meeting. So would anybody like to offer a motion on the list I just read?
I'll make a motion to approve the 12.1 to 12.23.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Altieri, seconded by Supervisor Russo to approve the list of township officials as read, 12.1 through 12.23. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I believe we can state that we are reorganized. Fantastic. All right, moving on with the rest of the meeting. Item 13, consider approving the minutes from the December 14th, 2020 meeting. I'll entertain a motion for approval or consideration of any changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 14th, 2020 meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Altieri, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap to approve the minutes from the December 14th, 2020 meeting as written. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Payments, we have one item under payments. This is consider approving the $1,500 escrow release payment to Aronimink Golf Club at 567 North Newtown Street Road for a completed grading project.
So move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo to approve item 14.1. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 15, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the bills on check register dated January 4th, 2020 in the amount of $106,690.14. I had the opportunity before this evening's meeting to review those bills, and that is my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Any further questions and discussions on the bills? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is the consider approving the holiday schedule. Mr. Nease, would you want to read that for us? Sorry. Caught you away from the computer.
You just caught me at the other one. Yeah, so our typical holiday schedule over the last several years is we have 10 set holidays that we offer to the employees, and then that the building is actually closed. And then we have 5 holidays that are floating holidays that the employees take either for religious purposes and or for days that they view as important days. And so things like Columbus Day or some of those other days are opportunities for employees to take off if they want to do that, and they can. We've done that you've been doing that before I even came. We extended it by 2 days, I believe, up to now, just to have the office open more. We've extended it. We've changed it. I back up. We used to have 13 set holidays and 2 floaters. I've moved it so there's more floaters, and that way the office is open more days.
Right. Makes sense.
And we had talked about that in the past. I believe that's what you're asking me to explain.
Just to read the date, Steve.
Oh, to read the date?
Read the holidays and the dates, that's all.
What holidays people get?
Yeah, that's just read the list of holidays.
10 days
Oh,
that the building is closed.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. I'm going to do this right off. Is it
I have
attached?
it open.
Or Tina has it,
I
right?
got it right here.
Yeah, I apologize.
Friday,
I don't.
January
That's
1st,
okay.
New Year's Day, Monday, January 18th, Martin Luther King Day, Monday, February 15th, President's Day, Monday, May 31st, Memorial Day, Monday, July 5th, Independence Day. This is the observed day. Monday, September 6th, Labor Day, Thursday, November 11th, Veterans Day, Thursday, November 25th, Thanksgiving Day, Friday, November 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, and Friday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. These are the 10 holidays that the township offices are closed, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So move for approval on those.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo to approve the 2021 holiday schedule. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is consider approving the 2021 meeting schedule.
Do you have it, Tina?
Yeah, I have it. Second and fourth Monday. So it'd be January 4, 2021 is the reorg. And then we begin our regular schedule, which is January 25th, 2021, February 8th, February 22nd, March 8th, March 22nd, April 12th, April 28th, May 10, May 24, June 14th, June 28th, July 12th, August 9th, September 13th, September 27th, October 11th, October 25th, November 8th, November 22nd, December 13th, and December 22nd. with a reorg at January 3rd, 2022. That's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Partridge to approve the 2021-2022 meeting schedule as printed. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We have nothing listed under old business, and under item 18, we have 5 resolutions. Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, would you like to read resolution 18.1 approving the township manager's compensation?
Resolution number 2021-01, a resolution of the Township of Newtown in the County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania hereby states compensation of the township manager / secretary / treasurer. Whereas Article 8, Section 1301, small b of the second class Township Code of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania states that the compensation of the township manager / secretary / treasurer shall be set by resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Newtown Township. Now be it hereby resolved that the annual compensation of the township manager, secretary, treasurer shall be $155,000 effective as of January 4, 2021, to be paid in the same manner as other township employees unless authorized by the Board of Supervisors at its discretion. Resolved this 4th day of January 2021 by the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Newtown.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Altieri to approve resolution 2021-01, setting the compensation for our township manager, secretary, and treasurer. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to thank you all. I appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve as your township manager, and I appreciate the increase. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Mr. Partridge, could you read resolution 2021-02?
Sure. Resolution 2021-02, resolution of the Township of Newtown in the County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Bank Depositories. Whereas the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Newtown, Delaware County, Pennsylvania desires to safely increase the investment potential of its money by investing from time to time in collateralized and federally insured obligations with commercial banks or savings institutions chartered by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or the United States. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Township of Newtown, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, is hereby resolved by the authority of said supervisors that 1, the proper officers of the Township of Newtown may execute such resolutions and documents necessary to establish and maintain federally insured and collateralized accounts with commercial banks or savings institutions chartered by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or the United States. 2, the proper officers of the township shall be authorized to perform whatever other acts shall be necessary under the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or the United States to establish and maintain such accounts as shall have been aforesaid described. 3, it is the sense of the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Newtown that the proper officers of the township shall be charged with choosing the appropriate federally insured and collateralized obligations with commercial banks or savings institutions chartered by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or the United States, and that the proper officers shall seek to obtain the highest possible return consistent with the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania controlling second-class townships. Resolved this 4th day of January 2021 by the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Newtown, and that's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Altieri to approve resolution 2021-02. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Supervisor Altieri, would you care to read resolution 2021-03?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So resolution 2021-03 signature resolution. Whereas the Township of Newtown Board of Supervisors has resolved to use TD Bank and Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust as depositories and desires to designate who is authorized to sign on behalf of the township. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the financial institution named above at any one or more of its offices or branches. B, and it hereby is designated as a financial institution of and depository for the funds of this governmental entity, which may be withdrawn on checks, drafts, advices of debit, notes, or other orders for the payment of monies, including electronic orders, bearing the signature of or is otherwise authorized jointly by any two of the following officers, employees, or agents of this governmental entity, parentheses, agents who are listed below: John Nawn, Board Chairman; Ed Partridge, Supervisor; Tina Roberts Lightcap, Supervisor; Stephen M. Nease, Township Manager / Secretary; George Sharretts, Director of Public Works. Further resolved, the agents whose names appear above are hereby authorized to open and maintain a deposit account or accounts of the governmental entity with the financial institution, subject to the terms and conditions of the business deposit account agreement, as it may be amended from time to time. Further resolved that the financial institution is hereby directed to accept and pay without further inquiry any item or payment order drawn against any of the governmental entity's accounts with the financial institution bearing the signature of or as otherwise authorized by any such agents, even though drawn or endorsed to the order of any agent signing or tendered by such agent for cashing or in payment of the individual obligation of such agent agent or for deposit to the agent's personal account, and the financial institution shall not be required or be under any obligation to inquire as to the circumstances of the issue or use of any item signed or payment order authorized in accordance with the resolutions contained herein, or the application or disposition of such item or payment order, or the proceeds of the item or payment order. Further resolved that any one of such agents is authorized to endorse all checks, drafts, notes, and other items payable to or owned by this governmental entity for deposit with the financial institution or for collection or discount by the financial institution, and to accept drafts and other items payable at the financial institution. Further resolved that the above named agents are authorized and empowered to execute such other agreements, including but not limited to special depository agreements and arrangements regarding the manner, conditions, or purposes for which funds, checks, or items of the governmental entity may be deposited, collected, or withdrawn, and to perform such other acts as they deem reasonably necessary to carry out the provisions of these resolutions. Further resolved that the authority hereby conferred upon the above named agents shall be and remains in full force and effect until written notice of the revocation thereof shall have been delivered to and received by the financial institution at the location where an account of the governmental entity is maintained, and financial institution has had a reasonable period of time to act upon such notice. Resolved this 4th day of January 2021 at a regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Altieri, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap to approve Resolution 2021-03. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Supervisor Russo, do you have Resolution 2021-04 in front of you?
Yeah. Resolution of Township of Newtown in the County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, fixing the tax rate for the year 2021. Be it resolved and enacted and hereby levied on the real estate property within the Township of Newtown, the tax rate for the general purposes 1.7089 mils on each dollar assessed valuation, or the sum of $170.89 on each $100,000 of assessed valuation. The assessment for the fire hydrants is 0.0215 mils on each dollar assessed valuation, or sum of $2.15 on each $100,000 of assessed valuation, whether or not the property is exempt from taxation. The assessment for streetlights is 0.045 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation, or sum of $4.50 on each $100,000 assessed valuation if located in the street light district, whether or not the property is exempt from taxation. Adopted this 4th day of January 2021.
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Partridge to approve Resolution 2021-04. Any further questions or discussions on the motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
would you like me to briefly go about how we got that number this year because of the reassessment?
I think you should explain it, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So hopefully everybody can see the screen. So we are looking at how I put basically in a quick 3 slides to kind of talk about how we got to where we are. In 2020, our base assessment for the township, and when I say our base assessment, this is anything excluding exempt properties, was $1,920,248. I'm sorry, $1,920,248,605 was our value for assessment in 2020. We had expected to collect $5,798,549.54 based on our $301.50 per 100,000. So that's what we started with in 2020. And we had to use that number of what our expected collection was to determine what our new number would be. So our new assessment for 2021 was $3,426,857,000 and change was our assessment. We had roughly $39 million worth of new growth in 2020. And so I'll talk about new growth in just a minute. So we had an adjustment that brought us down to $3,387,000, which takes us back to the January 1 of 2020 comparison. That number, again, if you remember, we anticipated on collecting $5,789,000. If I take the $5,789,000 and divide it by the $3,387,000, I come up with $170.89 per 100,000. And as you can see, we're roughly a little over 200,000. We're roughly over $200 difference between what we collected in 2020 and what we anticipate collecting in 2021 if everybody pays their bill. Does everybody see what I'm doing there?
Yes.
Okay. So that's how we got to the 170. And a very similar thing was used for how we got to each of the other two, the streetlight district as well as the hydrants. Real quickly, because probably the piece that comes in question is how did we factor growth? We factored growth on 2 factors. One is there were interim bills that were sent out between January 1st of 2020 and December of 2020. And from that, it was determined that the difference between the new assessment and the new land piece and by the way, all of these were only new builds. We did not do growth off of anything that was, if somebody did an addition on their house or just a renovation, we didn't focus on that. We focused just on the new builds, what was true growth to the township. That change in assessment was $14 million. They stopped really doing any interims probably about, I believe it was about August or September. And there was quite a few interims that were left outstanding. There was quite a few properties that we had a land value on December of 2020, but we had no building value. And so we took and looked at those pieces, subtracting out the increase in land value, just the increase in new value based on the new building was added, and that was 24 million. Those two added together got us to the 39 million. That was the change that we used in the prior screen. So I just wanted to really quick share how we got there and answer any questions that the board might have.
Steve, I had 2 requests.
Yes.
One, if you would upload this presentation to our website.
It will
the
be tomorrow
finance
morning.
section. And 2, if you would email this presentation to the board members.
I will do both of those things. Our intention was doing it tomorrow morning so everybody could have it at the website, but we'll mail it to each one of the board members as well.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, motion was made and seconded to approve resolution 2021-04. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Steve. Well done.
I will say this, I give all the credit to Rich and he worked very closely with Joe Driscoll over at the school district in going through this. They spent hours on this and I came in at the end and just did some review, but I give a lot of credit to both of them for staying on top of the county to get us to this spot.
Excellent. Got a great team. Thank you, Rich. I know you're on there, so. All right, last is resolution 2021-05, which is adopting the 2021 fee schedule. Would anyone like to read that resolution?
I've got it in front of me, so I'll go.
Go for it.
Resolution 2021-05, 2021 fee schedule, a resolution to approve township fee schedule. Whereas from time to time, the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Newtown, Delaware County, Pennsylvania reviews and revises various fees for services provided by the township. Now therefore, in consideration of the above, the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Newtown does hereby resolve as follows. 1, the Township of the Newtown's comprehensive fee schedule attached to this resolution as Exhibit A is approved. Number 2, the Township administration is directed to make this fee schedule available to the public and charge fees for services consistent therewith. Resolved this 4th day of February 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Altieri, seconded by Supervisor Partridge to approve resolution 2021-05. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, we have Sam Haber from the Delaware County Planning Department. He's going to update us on the zoning rewrite. Sam, take it away.
Yes, hi, everyone. Just to give you a quick update, we have made good progress on the ordinance. We are going to need a little more time to complete it. The committee basically, near the end of the process, requested a reformatting of how the districts are displayed. Instead of tables, they wanted everything laid out in matrices. So they provided the formatting for us, and they also included a lot of new uses, which they provided us the formatting, but there's some additional content that needs to be written now. So we have new uses. We have new conditional uses and special exception uses. We need to write standards and criteria for those. With the new uses, we're also required now to add in the parking ratios to the parking chapter for the new uses. And basically, with the changes, we have a lot of cross-referencing to do.
Township taxes.
So the changes that are proposed impact all the chapters. And so we're looking at March 15th as a date to have the draft to the solicitor. We think we can finish it before then, and we're going to shoot for the end of January or sometime in February, but March 15th will be our absolute latest on the arrival of the draft.
I guess we're a little concerned, Sam, that this has taken a lot longer than we had expected. The board had anticipated, quite frankly, voting on this by the end of the year, if not the beginning of this year. And here we are hearing that it's going to be another month or so. A little concerned. Anything we can do to move that timeline up a bit?
I'm going to do my best to move it up. Again, like I said, we at the near the end of the process, we had a request to reformat a good portion of the ordinance, specifically the zoning districts and the permitted uses. And that has necessitated basically a review of all the other chapters because of the changes in the zoning district chapter. We've had to go back and make changes to a lot of other chapters. So I don't know that there's anything. I don't know if there's anything you can do to move it along. It's just a question of me having to review all the chapters, cross-reference everything. And make sure things are consistent and internally logical.
What's the date you're projecting, or you think it'll be done?
Well, March 15th is the latest it would be done by.
What's the earliest?
Well, I'd like to get it by the early February, beginning of February.
Okay, why such a wide gap, a 45-day gap, I'll say? I mean, can we tighten that up, in other words?
We'll do our best.
We have a meeting. Oh, all right, put it this way. If you're saying that you can hit early February, we have a meeting on February 22nd, that our second February meeting. I'll go out on a limb here and say we'd like that the latest, put it on our agenda for that evening, which means we would need at least a week or two ahead of time so we can review it and things like that. So is that doable? Can we hold it to that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Just a reminder that before it comes to you, it needs to go to the Planning Commission. And I anticipate it'll be for the Planning Commission, probably at least 4 meetings. Where the Planning Commission has agreed to meet twice a month to review it when we get this process going. It's just until we know when it's ready, I can't set those 4 meetings.
And you have to also get all those letters together too, Steve, don't you?
Yeah, I can get the letters together as soon as I get dates that were date certain that it's going to go, because we're going to send, you've agreed to send letters to notify all the township residents, and we will do that. I just don't want to send the letter and have to send it again.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
makes
right.
sense.
So we're waiting and to make sure that we have the right date. And we'll have to plan for multiple, because it's got to be reviewed by the Planning Commission before it can come to you for approval. And it also has to be approved by the Delaware County Planning Commission.
So we're talking, if he gets us something by the end of February, you're talking the summertime.
I'm saying it would probably be the end of May before it was March, April. Either May, or it would be either the end of May or beginning of June before it was before you.
How late are we on this? I know we had wanted to discuss this by the end of the year. I mean, are we 3 months late, 4 months late?
Well, we're between 4 and 5, I guess.
Sam, we need you to do everything you can to hit that early February date. This needs to be done. I mean, whatever you got to do on your end from your department, to get people on this. I understand that there were some changes that were requested, but nonetheless, we still got to get this done and wrapped up. This has been dragging on a long time, and many of our residents are very anxious to see where this is going to go and to frankly have a discussion about it and get this off the table. I mean, we rewrote our zoning code, I want to say 2 years ago, or changed our plan 2 years ago. And we want to get this done. We seem to be dragging our feet on this. So Sam, whatever you can do to get this done, to hit your early February target, that would be much appreciated.
Absolutely. I'm not dragging my feet by any means. Although it may that impression may be being given, but this was originally a 2-year project. We knew it was the contract was for 2 years, and we knew it was going to be a significant job. And then again, we had these changes come in, but I'll do everything possible to hit this earlier date.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other board members have any comments, questions, concerns for Sam?
I hear your urgency.
I appreciate that. Whatever you can do, we need to get this done and wrapped up. We're gonna try to hold you to that February date there, Sam. We got to get this done.
All right.
If there's no other questions, thank you for coming and presenting it to us.
Well, that would be the February date would be the date that it would go to the township solicitor, Rich.
I understand that.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Yeah, we like the early February date rather than the March 15th date though. So
Okay, all right.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have board comment. Do any board members have any comments that they'd like to make?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to thank all the people who reached out to us and had interest in being on the boards and the commissions that were advertised for vacancies. We got to meet a lot of our constituents and our neighbors. And so the people who weren't appointed this go around, as we had said to everyone, please stay involved. This is important to be involved in your community. And we're happy to have as many people engaged. And now we know that we've got there's a vacancy. Anyone listening who would put their name in, if they're interested in the library board, please contact, I guess, the township office or the library directly that you're interested. I guess it's got it on the website. But
I have a vacancy on the Bartram Bridge Commission too. So.
And the Bartram Bridge, thank you. And I just wanted to thank everyone, and we're excited to have new faces and people engaged. So please continue to remain so.
Well said. Well said.
Steve, where are we with the Director of Public Relations?
Well, you have, with the budgets, basically going into effect, we'll start advertising and start moving forward with that if you're wanting to approve the advertising of that position.
Well, didn't we do that last year before we put the freeze in? We already approved the description.
Well, but with the new year, you would need to approve again that you want to do the advertising, let us go forward, and we will, if that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure we're staying. I mean, I know that you have a lot on your plate, and this is an important item for not just this board, but for the public. So I want to make sure that it's in there. So as long as we can move that forwid.
You want to give us a motion, Lynn?
Question.
Go ahead, Ed.
Did we do we have that in the budget?
Yes, that position is in the budget.
Okay.
Been in the
Just want to make
last
sure.
2 years. We didn't put anyone in there because of the freeze.
Right. But I just want to make sure the dollars were in there, Len. That's all.
Yeah, the dollars are in there.
Do you just need a motion from us, Steve, to authorize you to advertise?
If you authorize me to advertise, we'll get the process started.
I'll make a motion to advertise the Director of Public Relations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Altieri, seconded by Supervisors Roberts Lightcap to advertise the position of Public Relations. If I said that right, Director of Public Relations. Any further questions or discussions on the motion?
Steve, do you need me to resend the description that I got from Radnor Township for their Director of Public Relations?
No, I have that one. We'll put it together with ours and we'll send it back out to the board.
Perfect.
And then we'll go forward.
Sounds good.
No further questions. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Any other board comment?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just one quick thing. I know we have had a freeze also on other purchasing of assets. I have talked with our public works staff and they did mention that it would take up to 8 months to get their new truck because of backlog with COVID for getting, I believe it's the particular dump body or something that they're ordering. If I could, if the board's acceptable, I'd like to go ahead and start processing that and moving forward so we could have the truck before next year.
And that is in the budget.
It is in the budget. It's part of our capital.
Would anybody like to offer a motion accordingly?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move forward with purchase of the truck as item number 20.2.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo to move forward with the acquisition of a new Public Works dump truck. Any further questions or discussions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, if there's no further board comment, we'll move on to public comment. As far as I have been advised, there's been nothing in the mailbox, nothing in the submitted, although we do have one hand up. So Mr. Nease, if you would allow Ms. Wilson to speak.
She should be able to speak if she unmutes.
Cheers.
Patty Wilson, 4111 Battles Lane. Thank you. I'm going to offer this comment as it relates to open space. I understand that Mr. Corey has put forth a conceptual plan to have a convenience store with gas pumps on his property on Westchester Pike. He has provided that to the courts. I'm going to urge the board once again to consider that property for eminent domain for open space. Would be a wonderful property, and Paul Seligson has passed along to me a property out in West Goshen. That's a wonderful park. It's also potentially space to put a senior center or an expanded library for our community. While we have the opportunity, while there's nothing on that property, I'm going to urge you to do eminent domain. And I'm going to follow that by also encouraging this township to consider using this year to figure out how we can have an earned income tax, which I have urged year after year, because I think that many members of the board, including my family, pays an earned income tax to other communities that raises substantial amounts of revenue. So I'm not just urging you to buy the Corey property, but I'm trying to find you money to pay for it. That would help, as would the AmeriHealth building, which I understood from the developers was finished, but apparently is not being included for purposes of taxation as yet. So it's confusing. On one hand, the developer is saying the building is done. On the other hand, we don't have its assessment for taxability. The next thing I would ask of you folks is, Mr. Altieri has a township email address. It's amazing and wonderful.
I do as well, Mrs. Wilson.
You have a township email address now?
I do. I've had it for about a month.
Okay, that's great. Wonderful to let the community know that. We did not know that. Maybe you could put something out on Facebook with the email address. And if the other supervisors would join in, that way the entire community has access to individual supervisors, especially because a lot of times they want to get a hold of you about neighborhood issues. Thank you. That's wonderful, Tina. The last thing is, I noted tonight that you were talking about bidding a lot of the services that are out there, and I think that's a great idea. Bidding professional services, bidding engineering services potentially gets again, a great deal of savings for the community, and I'm appreciative and urge you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mrs. Wilson. Seeing no other hands up, we will adjourn. Our next meeting is Monday, January, what is that date?
The 5th.
January 25th, 2021. Wish everybody a happy new year and hope that 2021 is a much better year than 2020. Thanks for attending, folks. See you in a few weeks.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good job.